Hello, my name is Anthony Ceja from the San Diego County Office of Education System of Supports Department. And this video will focus on the comprehensive definition of restorative practices. We'll have several learning module videos available to you, but this one I'm going to share my uh, these slides with you. And you can always email me. The email's there. But one of the things that we promote from the County Office of Education is that this broader perspective of restorative practices. A lot of times when people think of restorative justice or restorative justice practices, many times they are looking at a very kind of narrow definition, thinking in their mind that it's only used when you have a problem, when you have a conflict. And the way we actually promote it is this more comprehensive definition that talks, like you see here, that it's very much relationship based. And relationships are built off of human interaction, right? And our communication. How are we treating each other? The tone of our voice. How is our body language? What are we communicating? And the idea behind this more comprehensive definition is that we see restorative practices being the way we treat each other. It helps to restore us, like restore our value as human beings, our value to the community. So we're restoring people with their importance, their belonging, their sense of worth in the community. Now, and we'll talk about that, but it's really important that we broaden our view and that we see true restorative practices happens in every interaction. All right, so that's an important part, and that when it's broadly and consistently implemented correctly, it can really promote and strengthen positive transformational school culture. And then restorative practices also involve these processes that do repair relationship when the harm has occurred, but the accountability is not done through punishment. It's done by helping the person who did the harm grow in their understanding of the impact of their behavior. And then they're involved in repairing the harm and in the restoration. So why restorative practices? Where does it come from? Well, it originally came from indigenous wisdom, right? And that was sort of like through the indigenous communities throughout the world, um, that it was generation to generation to generation, kind of like building this wisdom of the importance of human relationships. The that that when you value each member, right, it grows responsibility of each other to the community. The accountability is to the community. It encourages ownership. Um, so when we look at that indigenous mindset, it's very different from the current Western mindset. For example, the Western culture, which is very much individualism, and it's kind of like a more like I'm just going to get what I can get. It's kind of all about me, and the indigenous mindset is more of it's about the community. It's about this interdependent relationship, which is it's very very different. So when we look around the world, many indigenous communities, they really celebrate community. They honor the relationships that are in that community as an extremely high priority. So if we want a strong community, we need strong relationship of the individuals to the community. We need to show value and honor through everything that we do, and that people really see themselves as tied to the community. Even though they're individuals, they exist really in relationship. And that's something that the restorative practices with the definition that we're seeing is what we're looking for. And when we see part of the indigenous mindset around the world is that it always honors nature, it honors its environment. It's actually in relationship with nature. So the trees, the animals, the water, the air, all extremely important to treat it with respect. Um, and if you see sometimes what happens in the Western culture is that we see that people separate from that relationship, where in the indigenous uh, culture it's interconnected with nature. Sometimes people in the Western culture they become separate from it, and then it can even become a relationship of human beings feeling like they need to dominate nature, they need to exploit nature and take from it whatever it is that they want. But we find that that creates illness in that relationship. It's fractured, and then illness comes out. Social illnesses come out. Physical illnesses come out, and we see that when people don't honor a relationship in that restorative mindset, that it's um, it's really very damaging to the human psyche and to relationships. And so we look at, for example, these two photos, penguins and redwoods. And of course, this is nature. And yet the indigenous mindset is one of saying we can learn from nature because we respect it, right? We have relationship with animals, relationship with trees. And so we can actually glean wisdom from that. And if you look at these penguins and think of how they exist in community, of course, they're individual penguins, but they instinctively know that during the harsh weather, they need to huddle, that's part of their survival. It's the way that they can survive and even thrive in a very harsh environment. So if you see on the outside, some of the members of their community are taking the brunt of the cold weather, the wind, and the ones in the middle are enjoying kind of some of the warmth from that that their members are creating for them. But also, if you notice, you see maybe two or three of the penguins already rotating out to the outside. They're actually going to come and rotate out and take the brunt of that cold for a while. And they're going to continually be on this rotation where not only do they receive from the community, but they serve and they give. And that is that symbiotic relationship and an understanding of responsible and accountable to the community, and that I exist in relationship. And the same thing if you look at those majestic redwoods here on the right, they have this amazing presence if you've ever walked among the redwoods. And yet even the redwoods know, I guess instinctively through nature, that they need to be interconnected. If you look at their root system, and oftentimes you won't even see it. This you happen to see it in this picture because it's actually above the earth, but most of the time it's all below the earth, so you don't see it. But those redwoods are definitely communicating with each other and intertwining their roots to become interdependent, where they are strengthening themselves by connecting with each other. And then when the strong winds come and the storms hit, those extremely tall trees can't handle that because at the base they're connected. And this is what we're talking about with the restorative practices. The way we're promoting it is this comprehensive view of it, that we need each other. We need to rediscover, restore some of that ancient wisdom that honestly is in all of us, somewhere in our DNA. It exists there, that we all need each other. We need to be in community. We need to be in relationship. And when we do that, we will become stronger. We will not only survive, but we will thrive. And so we're saying that then we, as especially as educators, we have this responsibility to help to restore, especially students who we serve, And even, but even our colleagues and even parents. But I know we focus most of our energy with the students. It's like we try to then restore them back to the school community where they get that sense of belonging, the sense of safety, the sense that they can be their authentic self, that they're where their voice is valued, their ideas are valued, where they're accepted as they are, and they can grow and develop as this human being. Even, some of our students we know are coming from environments, even in homes and families, where they are not feeling valued. They feel sometimes even abused. They feel demeaned and devalued. We say, but in the school community, we're going to create an environment that is healing, that is restorative, and that's really what we're talking about in our definition of restorative practices. So my hope is that this is helpful to kind of shift some of your thinking on it. And then if you look below on this video, if you scroll down a little bit, there'll be a link that will take you to an evaluation that you can fill out. It helps to inform us if this was helpful to you. And yeah, so I hope that this was, and maybe we'll see you in one of the other videos.